Deprived Games.
And welcome back to the Super 5 Gamers Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as John B. the Tank.
And good evening, guys. My name is Matt, also known as Thackum.
And I'm James, also known as Demigod Phoenix.
And today we got a couple big things we're going to cover. One of them being Candy Crush, which we've talked about there in the past when we talked about the microtransactions that they do.
You know, Candy Crush is increasingly becoming a game I'm disliking very much, and
They're becoming a nuisance.
Well, they're already a nuisance.
James, what happened in the past week with Candy Crush?
Well, basically, Kings.com was, they're trying to submit some trademarking type things for a bunch of products and themes and stuff that they're trying to do for Candy Crush. So it's not so much that they trademark the word candy or anything like that. They're trying to reserve all the rights for products that involve anything to do with candy.
Right. But apparently they've already been taking storm and going after some games on the App Store.
They have.
Anything that includes the name candy in it.
Mm-hmm. Right, but I mean, right now they don't have any real ground to move on because they haven't been approved for any of their trademarking.
Yeah, they've been approved for gaming, education, and clothing. I think so far. Clothing. Which means they can attack things like Skull Candy.
Okay. So what does this mean for, classic games like Candyland?
I don't know what kind of strength they have in the board gaming industry. Because it doesn't fall under video games. I know they're attacking video games right now. I don't think they're going to attack a board game such as, Candyland. So.
It was just interesting to see where they take this. I'm sure that we're going to keep up on it.
Yeah, there's not too much on it right now. It's still relatively new. And stuff like this, it takes a long time before you start getting more news out of it. Mm-hmm. But we'll definitely keep up with it. This is very, I would say interesting, but I'm going to say stupid. So, in the eyes of stupidness, we're going to follow it. So another big thing, one of the games I'm sure all of us in this room can't wait for is Titanfall. And according to some retailers, we may be seeing a beta for Titanfall, a public beta, as soon as February.
That's really quick.
Mm-hmm. Xbox eGen was sent the photos by a reader, which allegedly come from Micromania, a store in France. In them, you see posters explaining a beta for the game that will begin on February 14th. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys remember, they had a closed alpha recently for Titanfall. And in the agreements, of course, they were saying, you can't post any videos about it, can't, do anything, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, people recorded videos and put them out. And what does EA do? They do the same thing any other company would. They come out and say, the footage in the gameplay, it's alpha, if things look bad, it's because it's still early in development. But you know what happens? Against everyone's surprise, or to everyone's surprise? Everyone loved the alpha game.
Well, that's just the thing, John. Whenever you look at alpha, especially alpha games, I'm sure that companies are very wary in giving that out to the general public. Mostly because of the fact of.
But here's the funny thing was, everyone loved the alpha they saw.
I'm understanding.
And then EA was like, oh, here's some alpha gameplay. Here's 10 minutes of gameplay from the alpha.
The reason being is going to be because the general public doesn't understand alpha and beta. Right? They're just going to expect to...
This is the game! Why doesn't it work right?
The graphics suck. The story's not there. So, essentially, that's
Which is why the creator of DayZ, when they put out the alpha, said if you don't understand what an alpha is or want to contribute to the development of this game, wait until it's done before you get it.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's stupid. You see people complain online, this game is broken, it was a waste of money.
Now... Speaking of DayZ, the reviews going around it have been amazing.
Which is awesome, considering they're also still considering that it's an alpha. But the rate the game is growing, they're still adding things pretty often. Every other week, I'd say they have an update out with new stuff they're adding to the game.
So, do you actually know where that game, how it came to fruition? Do you know
it was a mod.
But do you know why it was made? It's actually got a pretty interesting story. I read around that, and it's actually made. The mod was made by a serviceman He, they do all of these drills and things like that, and when they're drills, people really don't get into it, right? Because they know nothing detrimental is going to happen. They know, well, it turns out that he hated the drills, but two, he realized that people weren't emotionally vested in these drills. So what happened was he decided to make a mod for this game that you only get one life. Because if you only got one life, then it brings it a little bit more realism to it.
It brings out the worst in people.
Well, not just that.
But
There's stories
the
flying around online of people who have started this game together, and they've formed alliances. And there are people who are friends in real life.
And then get totally destroyed when their friend gets killed.
Well, they're maybe not just their friend get killed, but there's actually whole fan blogs for this game now where people are saying, they broke out crying because they had to put their friend down because they were going to die. And that's what it is. This is the game.
Find the random player crawling on the ground with broken legs. Kill me! Kill me! Because I can't do anything.
But it truly is a game that you really can get emotionally vested in because you put so much time, energy into it.
Oh, yeah, I've got over 30 hours in one character right now.
Exactly. So, it really is something that people can really get into. And I'm thinking it's awesome. I love this game.
I have to say, I was actually playing yesterday with Brent, and we're playing for a good 4 or 5 hours. And we're walking along the beach, and first of all, getting chased by zombies is fun, especially when I'm the one who has a gun and he doesn't. He's like, John, zombies! And I'm like, stand still. He's like, why? I'm like, I'm going to shoot him. Don't shoot him! Stand still! I don't want to! Now I'm like, fuck it. And I pull the trigger, and he's like, ah! And he dives on the ground.
Now, there are some players that have made a name for themselves, specifically for guarding the newbies.
Oh, Frankie, 1080p on PC. That guy is, he makes me look like a shithead when I play that game. Not only because I'm bad at it, but because sometimes you have to shoot on sight. Like yesterday, I was with Brent, we were playing for 6 hours. We couldn't find him a backpack for the life of us. And I'm like, hey Brent, I found a player! And then he heard a gunshot go through the mic, and I'm like, got your backpack! So
I haven't actually played DayZ yet.
You would have a lot of fun. I would recommend picking it up and playing with us.
There's a pretty serious learning curve for it.
There is a pretty serious learning curve, but if you play with someone, you get through it a lot quicker.
I definitely heard that. But also too, I'd be more excited to see this game go across a little bit more platforms.
I would love to see it come to console. That'd be great.
Right now, DayZ is limited to the Windows platform. Die a lot more. Now, and there's probably a lot of PC gamers that'll say it's perfect the way it is, and I would agree. I think it's a really good game the way it is, but let's make it universal. And I understand it's in alpha right now, and maybe when the game actually comes to
once
full
it's complete,
board,
it'll
actually go across the systems. But I would like to see some maybe alpha testing on the Mac and see exactly where that goes. Because you're going to open up yourself to a whole new gaming market.
They'll absolutely bring it to Mac. And I know one thing, when he started development on the game, he was asked if he would ever bring it to console. And he said, why not? He said, eventually, let's get the PC version out first and see where it goes from there.
I like it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's based off Arma, which everyone knows Arma is a game that uses every key on the freaking keyboard. But it's a little simpler than that. It's still got a bit of a learning curve, like James said. But they could probably work it on a controller. Just dumb it down a little bit, give buttons multiple meanings, you're good to go.
Yeah. Did you guys see the update that was announced for DayZ by the creator?
Another new update?
Yeah, apparently he didn't ask me anything on Reddit, Dean Hall, the creator, and he said that there's basically going to be a bunch of features for it. Are going to include vehicles and base building.
Really?
Yep.
Ooh, when? Did he say when?
I don't believe there was a time announced. He just said it's going to be coming soon.
Shit, I want it. Dude, you have no idea. So me and Brent, when we started playing yesterday, I was at the Northwest Airfield, for anyone listening who knows where that is, and he was at the Northeast Beach. It took me an hour and a half of sprinting to get to him. Of sprinting! With a car, I'd probably get there in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you're not going to be holding down the button for 30 seconds getting to where you want to go.
No.
DayZ
is a game, you have to have patience.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I think that a lot of games right now are...
Not only the travel time, but say there's a sniper near you. Sit and wait for 3 hours.
I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot of games now that aren't like that in the sense of, the time between two places is generally shortened or can be shortened through use of things like teleportation fast travel. And, that's really good if you're playing in essence trying to get it done fast.
DayZ's not that kind of game, though.
I'd say that DayZ is the kind of game that you can play indefinitely the way it is.
Yeah, the way it is, you're fine.
So...
Well, if anything, the other reasons I can't wait for that new update, though, is in the mod, you can build some structures, some kind of forts and stuff. So that'll be useful for, say, I'm with a couple buddies and want to, fort down for the night.
You want to fort down?
Yeah. Well, something else that I thought was cool in that update was Hull was saying that he's going to scale back some of the more, overpowered weapons and replace them with more basic stuff. When you can start crafting like a bow and arrow and stuff like that to put in, he's going to add more basic guns in to...
I know they just added a shotgun and a saw, so you can make it a sawed-off too.
Yeah, but I mean, when they eventually get to that point, they're also going to make the military weapons really rare.
Yeah, well, they already made them a little more rare. It's really hard to find M4 now, which I'm lucky I found one when I did.
Well, I mean,
and I also have about 600 rounds of ammo. My whole inventory's clipped.
If they're rare now, I want to see what it's going to be like after that update.
Yeah. Now it's really hard to find even a revolver.
So, speaking of indie games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we talked about this just a little while ago, and we James, I believe you said it, they're bringing Kerbal Space Program to a... is it an
aeronautics program, I believe?
Yes.
For a class.
What's actually interesting is NASA is actually introducing their own equipment and levels into the Kerbal Space Program.
Yes, I did hear about that. I don't know, if you guys had a chance to play Kerbal at all?
I have, and it is difficult.
I've got Kerbal. Yeah.
It's difficult.
I got 30 feet off the ground.
It's really hard. But, I mean, I was so proud of myself when I finally got my first satellite up there.
I was really proud when I finally got into space and then realized I'm in space, but I'm not out of the gravitational pull. So, I got up all the way out, I could see the whole planet, and I was like, woohoo! And then I ran out of fuel, and then I just slowly started falling back toward the planet.
Well, there's a reason that this game is actually being brought to these classes and seen on this light, because the physics there are actually real.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is they're bringing this to the more advanced classes now. Minecraft has been brought to younger kids now in school.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys didn't hear about that? There's a lot of schools that are starting to implement a Minecraft computer course.
Yeah, it's
like a team building exercise.
It's not exactly Minecraft. They adapted it for the school
Mm-hmm.
environment, but it's pretty well Minecraft for school.
Well, it's Minecraft, and they'll do team building exercises in it.
Yeah.
It'll be the two of you get together and build a house, and the person with the best house wins, and they'll ban you're not allowed to kill each other and stuff like that. So, well, they can. I'm sure they can turn off in the settings. I'm sure not.
You can. Yeah, you can definitely turn that off. No swords for you.
Yeah, no swords for you.
And another thing is, I'm going to hop over to the Xbox One for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft is renaming their SkyDrive service to OneDrive.
I didn't see that coming.
Are they really?
They absolutely are.
So far this year, I've been happy with most of Microsoft's announcements. I think this one's fucking stupid.
I mean, I really don't. I think it's kind of interesting to see that they're starting to tailor a lot of their services going towards the Xbox, and I probably see that coming for more. I mean, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll see Skype renamed OneCall.
Really?
But it's interesting to see the way the company takes it.
Yeah. Well,
you'll find your One store in a mall near you.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, was that
something else that I saw about Microsoft was that Epic Games sold the Gears of War franchise to Microsoft. So apparently they're no longer working on it.
So one of two things is going to happen. The next Gears of War is going to be really good, or it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could either go the way of the Halo franchise, where 343 did really good with it, and could potentially do well with the next one, or it's just going to get completely shot down.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's going to be the former, because it's one of my favorite game series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, hopefully a lot of the people from Epic will go over, how a few people from Bungie went to work over at 343 when they converted, so that way it was a smoother transition. I'm sure a few people from Epic are going to be like, well, I want to keep working on this franchise, and I go over and continue to work on it, so that way it'll make it a smoother transition as well. I'm sure Microsoft's also going to offer those people a little more money to come work for them as well.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you guys got? So I think that was most of the news. Wait, you have something?
Well, I was just looking the other day. I mean, I don't play League of Legends, but I have a lot of friends that do. And if you remember, in 2012, in October, they had something like 12 million daily players of League of Legends.
Yeah.
Well, they just announced today that they have 27 million per day.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
All I can say is way too many people play. I don't know if you've ever played League of Legends.
I haven't played any MMO,
really?
Honestly. Yeah.
Well, it's not an MMO. It's a MOBA game.
Yeah.
Have you played any League of Legends?
I have played League of Legends, actually.
League of Legends?
League of Legends.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I didn't...
You know what I have to say about that game, though? LOL. That's it.
I mean, I didn't really get too into it. I mean, there really is a following for the game.
It's the Call of Duty of MOBA games.
Well, the way that it was explained to me when I first got it, and this may upset a lot of people, was because, I didn't want to pay for World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole reason I got it, just so I can kind of dip my toe in the water to see what it's all about. And I didn't really get too crazy into it, but I played it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the thing for me, I don't mind paying a monthly fee for a game. I don't mind supporting the servers, the employees that keep it running, and that type of thing. What I do mind is that I'd have to depend on other people to be able to play the game.
Well, that's true for a lot of games now.
Yeah, but I mean, I tend to be more of a single player type of guy. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online I think might be pretty cool, but I'm still waiting to see how it's going to be affected by having peers in the game. Because I know every now and again when I'm playing Elder Scrolls, I just run around and kill everyone. I'm sure you guys have done that.
There's one more big thing I want to go over before we end today's episode. And that's that Microsoft may have found the person to direct their pilot for the first episode of the new Halo TV series.
Really?
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that would be Neil Blomkamp. Which, I don't know if you guys ever saw, Elysium or District 9.
Both.
Was the director of both those movies.
Yeah.
And he's been wanting to direct a Halo movie. So they're going to give him the first episode of the new TV show. This is not confirmed yet, but this is, coming out of the rumor mill. But I think he'd be a pretty good fit. I mean, he did a really good job with Elysium. I don't know if you guys... Well, you saw Elysium, you said. What did you think of Elysium?
I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was a lot better than I actually thought it was going to be.
I didn't have high expectations, but, it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should
I'd see it
check out
again.
that movie. You'd like that movie.
I'd see it again.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah.
So, there was one other thing I did want to talk about.
Okay.
And it's something that...
One more thing.
And it's something that's got a lot of people, rallying around it right now. And I think that this is something that as, gamers that we really need to discuss and be aware of. And that's, what a lot of people are saying.
Air conditioning. It's hot as balls.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. Net neutrality is dead.
What do you mean by that?
So, have you guys read any articles recently that are talking about how 3 judges and Verizon have essentially taken away the open internet, or are going to?
I did hear about that.
So,
I haven't heard
3 federal judges sided with Verizon and struck down net neutrality in a court ruling. And basically what this means is because the FCC made some mistakes a few years ago when it implemented its open internet order, these judges now say that your ISP has the right to throttle, censor, and block your internet content however they choose. And under this law, there's no way anybody can stop them legally.
Wow.
So this is something that we definitely need to get the word out and definitely need to rally around because this,
I know a few providers have already come out and said they're not going to change anything.
Well, right now.
Mm-hmm.
But who's to say that,
5 years from now,
Fios isn't taking a hit on it and they decide to throttle Netflix?
Oh, I'm sure they will since Verizon was a part of it.
But you understand what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
This has the potential to change, Maybe Uverse isn't doing that well, and AT&T says that, Hulu needs to be slowed down.
Yeah.
What if, they decide to charge more because you stream everything through your Xbox Live? It's something that really needs to be taken into account because this really does affect anybody that does any kind of online gaming or watches or streams anything
If
online.
any anonymous people out there are listening, we should do something about this.
So there actually is a petition going through right now. It's through demandprogress.org. Definitely give it definitely check it out. I get their emails all the time, especially in regards to things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a net petition. Go ahead and sign your name. We want it, and same as anything else. Contact your senator. Contact your governor. Get this up there so that way they know that you don't want this to pass.
Oh, it won't happen. The amount of feedback that the people give these days when it comes to media or internet.
That's just the thing, though. You can't rely on somebody else, especially in cases of things like this.
Oh no,
this is
everyone's gonna
essentially
step up themselves.
it has the potential to be censorship of free speech. Okay, and this is something that really needs to be taken into account and really needs to be, let's not rely on everybody else to do it. Let's, be active, get in there, make a phone call, sign the petition, get it done.
Yeah, it won't pass. I don't think so.
I don't think it will either, but we definitely need to do our part.
No problem. I think that we can actually get a link up on the website if you guys are okay with that. sleepdeprivedgamers.com/demandprogress to get you over to that petition.
No, absolutely not. You can't do that.
Terrible! And we can have that up and going by this episode's post. So, guys, do you have anything else?
Yeah, there was. I hate to
One
be that guy. One more thing.
thing.
There was gameplay footage released for a game that I'm pretty excited about because I'm really into the series. It's Lord of the Rings, the new game.
Oh yeah,
Shadow
I
of
forgot to talk
Mordor.
about that.
They released the gameplay footage, and it looks pretty awesome. But I gotta say, it looks kind of like an Assassin's Creed game.
Well, did you guys hear about the tweets that came out from the guy who made Assassin's Creed 2?
Nah.
He's like, "Hey guys, did you see that new Lord of the Rings game? Apparently, I helped make it." And then he's like, "No, really, guys, did anyone notice that they're using Assassin's Creed 2 code in the new Lord of the Rings game?" And then, like another tweet, "Hey, does someone really want to answer this question? Why is my game Lord of the Rings now?" Like,
Yeah, I mean, whatever's going on there, the game looked pretty cool.
It looks great.
I'm excited for it.
I do agree with the guy though. What the?
Yeah.
There was even a point where he's walking across like the cables you can walk across, the triple cables, looked exactly like they were pulled out of Assassin's Creed. Like literally right out of Assassin's Creed. But besides that, the game looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who haven't heard about it,
And the enemies are kind of random, I think, every time you play through it.
yeah, for those of you who haven't heard about it, it's Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Which is interesting because they don't use the Lord of the Rings name in it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because usually they build on that.
sometimes
But I guess Lord of the
But,
Rings games haven't been doing
it's
very
actually
well lately.
taking place between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Oh! That's a big gap they gotta fill. That's smart.
So
That's like Force Unleashed, what they did with Star Wars.
part of the reason
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm so into the series. I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Any idea when that's supposed to come out?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Alright, we'll figure out more about that in the future. I'm sure we'll see more gameplay soon.
Yeah.
Because E3 will be coming up again in a few months.
E3 will be coming up.
Woohoo! E3! And our first anniversary of the podcast will be coming up in a couple months.
Absolutely. We started the 2 weeks before E3.
We started when Xbox One was announced in March?
No, man.
Or was it April?
They announced the Xbox One. They said, okay, regardless, this is a conversation for
Yeah.
off air. But
Don't ask me. I don't know. I got here 4 weeks ago.
if anything else,
Nope, that's it.
okay.
Alright, well, thanks for joining us, guys. I'm John.
I'm Matt,
And I'm James.
and like always, stay sleepy. Game on.
Sleep deprived.